motion.
I know, right?
An observed moment of silence for a while.
That's all good.
Okay, are you ready in the back, Debbie? Are you ready in the front, Jane? Okay. Well, good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9:00 a.m. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us online by going to our website. Live stream is also available at tctvonline.com. Click on live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to the public comments email on our website. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email public comments by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be emailed to the Board of Commissioners office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Do we have anyone signed up in the room, or has anyone registered online for public comment?
No.
We do not. Okay, wonderful. Okay, well, this meeting has been called to order. I would welcome those in the room to sign our guest list, please, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bell, will you lead us today?
Will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So we do not have any public comments. We do not have any non-agenda items today. So we will begin with the consent calendar, which I think I can just say consent calendar. I would be looking for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the consent calendar.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving into our legislative administrative agenda. Item number 6, consideration of professional services agreement number 24/25-016 with Synergy Health and Wellness for WIC Nutritionist and Training Supervisor Services. Marlene Putman, Administrator, Health and Human Services. Good morning, Marlene.
Good morning. Yes, we do have a contract with Synergy Health and Wellness to provide nutrition counseling services for our WIC patients because we don't have a nutritionist on our staff. This happens sometimes with public health departments as they can't hire and or don't have a full-time position for a nutritionist. So there are a number that work with this particular agency, Synergy Health and Wellness. So our contract includes terms of $32,115 for the year February 1, 2025 through January 31, 2026. And we reimburse based on invoice received from the contractor. So it's up to that amount and based upon the request for services that we need. So based on experience, this is how we've come up with the specific amount, but sometimes we have had to amend the contract to extend if we have more complex cases that need the support of a nutritionist. So that's the basic overview of this contract. Happy to answer any questions if you have them for me.
Thank you, Marlene. Commissioners, any questions?
No, none for me.
Okay, and none for me. Appreciate the opportunity to have a solution for this when we don't have available workforce. We're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a professional services agreement number 24/25-016 with Synergy Health and Wellness for WIC nutritionist and training supervisor services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to item number 7, consideration of an order in the matter of establishing and modifying fees for the Tillamook County Clerk. We have Christy Neistat, our clerk, with us today. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning, Commissioners. So just for people that are listening and might not know, the services that are provided in the clerk's office are mandated services, so they're set forth by statute, and we collect fees based on that. The only thing that we do not do in our office that is not mandated are passports. So that's just something that we provide to the community, but that fee that we collect is set by the federal government, so we can only collect $35 for that. So and looking at our fees, under ORS 205-320, the board can set forth an order and help us set a fee schedule to help us do the work that we need to complete in my office. So on Exhibit A, basically we wanted to look at our marriage licensing fee, and we did a scope of statewide, what other counties are charging, and we came up with raising it to $60. The average is around 40. It came up to like $55 was kind of the average, but a lot of people are charging, a lot of counties are charging 60. So we felt that was appropriate for the level of work that we do, the mailing and everything that it takes. So that would be a $10 increase. By statute, the clerk shall charge a $117 fee to solemnize a marriage. So when people come in and want to get married in the clerk's office, we shall collect that $117 fee, which we have not collected in the past. So asking that could be implemented in our fee schedule. We'd like to start doing that. And people do have the need to get married and have a civil ceremony. The Justice of the Peace doesn't do that service anymore. And so it's something that we have been providing but not charging a fee for. So we'd like to establish that fee. By law, you can waive the 3-day waiting period. So you get your license, you have to wait 3 days before it's active, and that you can get married, and the clerks can approve a waiver and charge a fee for that. And so the fee has been $10. We would like to raise that to $25. And that seems to be pretty consistent with statewide what people are charging as well. And then if you come in and you want to amend a marriage license, the clerk has the authority to look at your marriage license. Sometimes people may have misspelled a parent's name. This comes up a lot when people are trying to get citizenship and they've gotten married and maybe they didn't indicate the proper country of birth of a parent or the proper naming. So we have the authority to change those and send those off to Oregon Vital Records so they can make the amendment, but we have to change it in our office first because we're the ones that issued the license. And so we were asking to raise that fee to $50 from $25. It's fairly time consuming. We have to fill out the paperwork, we have to amend it, we have to mail things off. So it takes like 4 to 5 hours to do that amendment. So it's not just an easy, oh, here you go, sign it and done. It's a little more work than that. People often lose their little pretty copy of the parchment with the gold letters and all of that. And those, we have to purchase those. Those are something extra. We have to provide it by statute. But we were wanting to charge $10 to replace that. Because again, we purchase those. We have to then mail them, refill all the paperwork out. So we were wanting to charge for that. People lose their marriage license packet. So they get their license and for somehow they've left it. Either they left it in the state because we have a lot of people coming from out of state to get married here. So sometimes they leave it at home and they need to get a replacement for that, or they just have lost it. The dog ate it. You know, it happens. We have a lot of those. And again, we have to reprint everything. We have to purchase special things for those marriage packets. So we were wanting to charge a fee to replace a marriage packet. And so those are the fees for marriage licenses that we wanted to adjust. Our passport photo fee is currently $15. It's been that for well over a decade. the cost of services for replacing camera, printer, all of the photo paper. We did a comparative against the other business in Tillamook County that does passport photos. Theirs is $20, so we were thinking that was pretty comparable to raise it $5 to collect 20. And people now have the ability to take their passport photos and get them digitized and sent up to renew their passport with the Department of State. And so we wouldn't be printing, but we would be emailing and digitizing it for them. So we were thinking if they don't need the printed copy for $20, but we could do a $5 fee to the time to take it off of the camera and to email and send them the copy that they need to digitally renew their passport. And then we wanted to, the Property Valuation Appeals Board isn't something currently that we've collected a fee for, but statewide clerks are saying it's a lot of work to clerk for the Property Valuation Appeals Board. We have to pay the vendor for the software to do that every year. And it's quite time consuming for one staff person to do that. And so a lot of, I would say half of counties have started charging a fee to file BOPTA appeals or Property Valuation Appeal Board appeals, sorry. So we were wanting to charge $40 for that per appeal. And I know people might not want to pay that, or that could be contentious, I think, a little bit. So just being honest about that. But also, we have the right to file appeals, but we also, there's a lot of things that in our daily life that we have the right to do, but there's also a fee associated with them as well. So that's kind of a balancing act a little bit, but we would like to consider it at least.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions, comments? I think
Your last concern, how are the other counties, what are they charging, about the same?
They are
It seemed-
anywhere from 36 to 48 to $50. Yeah.
It all seems reasonable to me, and thank you for your research in comparatively pricing it.
You're welcome.
how many marriages do we do a year?
Oh gosh, like licenses that we issue are probably over 250.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's a fairly significant number, therefore a fairly significant body of work.
Yes, yep. And of course, we have our busy season, as we do with elections, so we usually have spring through summer is our busy time for marriages.
Are you officiating when your office does it?
Yes, I'm the one that officiates, yes. And I've done, I think, 12 or 13 of them in the last, 6 months, probably, so.
And these are based not on cost recovery necessarily, but really based on what the market across the state has at this time. Is that
Yes,
right?
that is correct.
Because it seemed like for some of these, I think for the one that struck me was you said the amendment of a marriage license could be 4 or 5 hours and it's $50. So clearly not cost recovery. Clearly that's one where we are leaning on our general fund to make
Yeah.
this work for people.
Correct. And we currently have a fee set by order for $10 for the amendment.
Yeah.
But that doesn't even, when you're mailing and you're doing the work, it's more than that.
Yeah. So, and I think it's a conversation that anytime we talk about fees and we talk about whether they do or don't actually pay for it is a useful part of the conversation, because as we look at our general fund dollars and where they need to go, at this point, part of where they're going is obviously to the marriage program, right? Which is great. We love to be able to do that. And it's just, I think, a transparency for us as we approve fees to recognize what we're subsidizing. So, but again, you have done a great job of making sure we're in line with, it sounds like, what's happening across the state, so.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, other questions and comments?
I just wanted to ask do you enjoy doing the marriage ceremonies?
I do. It's fun. Yeah. I think 99.99% of the time people are happy to come in and get married. I think the most of the time they are. So, and it's fun. It's, we get people that are going to be on deployed that come in and one of them, they want to get married before they go. And so they've been together a long time. And so those are it's very touching and it's an honor to be able to do that for people.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Occasionally I see the groups of the couple and a few, guests or family members out on the sidewalk, and you can tell maybe somebody has flowers and they're so happy. It's nice.
They are. It's fun.
Thanks for providing that.
You're welcome.
Do you have any sense of how many of those are from out of county? Transient lodging tax conversation, anyone? We are offering marriages for people who don't live here. I mean, it's
Well, I think marriage in general, sorry, when the pandemic happened, there was, I think, one county, maybe two in the state that did marriage licenses via mail. So you could send everything electronically and then they would mail you your packet. And during the pandemic, we started doing that because it was the only way that we could issue a marriage license to folks that still wanted to get married, even though, you know, you were in lockdown, life still was going on. And so we started that and we continued after the fact. So a lot of our marriage licenses we've continued to do a lot through the mail. And people from out of state and out of other counties that want to get married here, or that are getting married in Portland, but they can't get their license electronically and maybe are falling within a timeline of needing to get it quickly. So, yeah.
okay. Interesting thought and conversation. If this is part of what we are offering as a tourist-related service, and we're looking at where we're using our general funds, and if they are in fact supporting our local services or out-of-area users, maybe it's a conversation worth having. So, thank you for that information. I appreciate it. Okay, I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of order number 25-007 in the matter of establishing and modifying fees for the Tillamook County Clerk.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Christy. Okay, and it looks like you are with us for the next item as well. Item 8, consideration of an amendment to rural and non-metro grant agreement number 6631 with the Center for Tech and Civic Life for grant number 24A-00826.
So we received $20,000 for the Center for Tech and Civic Life for things related to the November election. And we used it to do our security cameras, get that upgraded, display our DVR for that. We used it for paying for our temporary workers, election workers. So instead of having to pay out of general fund for that, we were able to, which was about $6,000. And then we also wanted to purchase new ballot drop boxes because ours are in desperate need of replacement. But we weren't able to, because of supply chain, weren't able to purchase those before the end of December. And so I had the ability to ask for an extension, and they granted us an extension till the end of May. So we want to use the remaining $11,000 to go towards replacing our ballot boxes. So that's what this is about.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions?
No questions. Should we congratulate her on the proclamation that we forgot to congratulate her?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to recognize that the City of Bay City issued a proclamation for your good deeds during the election. And I think this kind of stuff, upgrading stuff, putting the cameras in was such a great idea. So I definitely support this.
Likewise, and I thank you for remembering. We were kicking ourselves last week that we didn't remember to congratulate you last week. So it was an honor to be there at Bay City with you while they read the proclamation to you and to your whole office, to your staff, of course, for your excellent work. So thank you. And I'm fully supportive of replacing ballot boxes. I think they are old and funky, and so I think that's a good investment. And people really appreciated the cameras and the live streaming of the ballot counts, et cetera. And it was, it was a way that technology is really improving our process because people are curious about that. And of course, you can't have a big crowd in the room with you while you're doing it. So that was really smart and benefit to the community. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, I also have heard many comments about the cameras. Those were definitely a hit. So I think my colleagues have covered everything else, and I'm in support. I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of an amendment to rural and non-metro grant agreement number 6631 with the Center for Tech and Civic Life for grant number 24A-00826.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 9, consideration of an order in the matter of the reappointment of members to the Tillamook County Library Board. Commissioner Mary Faith Bell.
We are reappointing today 3 members of the library board: Nan Devlin, John Orloff, and Madeline Oh, shoot, her name just flew out of my, Olson, thank you, thank you. And they are existing library board members, and they're willing to continue serving. They're a terrific benefit to the library board, to the community, and to the commissioners, because the library board advises the commissioners. So I'm grateful for their service. I'm grateful that they're willing to continue.
Thank you.
I have nothing,
Just,
just a thank you.
exactly, as we always say, a thanks to our volunteers. We couldn't do what we do without them. So I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of order number 25-008 in the matter of the reappointment of members to the Tillamook County Library Board.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item number 10, consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Tillamook County Circuit Court, Tillamook County, Tillamook Sheriff's Office, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, and Tillamook County Care, Inc. for the Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court. And it looks like I'm carrying that one today. I do sit on that advisory board. We have the Behavioral Health Court here in Tillamook County, which is a great service. It is an opportunity for those who are involved repeatedly in law enforcement and the criminal justice system when it is identified that the reason for that continued engagement is behavioral health related. It's an opportunity for them to accept a program that works directly with the judge, works with defense attorney, works with probation and parole, works with community partners to provide for them the support that they need to change their behavior and to get the services they need related to behavioral health with the law enforcement involvement, which helps keep them on track in many cases. So there have been many wonderful graduates from this program, folks where we have not seen them again. It has really changed, as I understand it, the recidivism for many of these individuals. So a great service that we have in our county, and the memorandum of understanding spells out the who does what. For the county commission ourselves, we really have a very limited role other than I'm a member of that advisory group, and we have committed that we will always have a member of that advisory group. So any questions or comments?
Not for me.
Okay, then I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Tillamook County Circuit Court, Tillamook County, Tillamook Sheriff's Office, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, and Tillamook Care, Inc. for the Tillamook County Behavioral Health Court.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 11, consideration of a professional service agreement with Consor for the Pacific City Woods Parking Management Plan design. Rachel Haggerty, Chief Administrative Officer.
Good morning, Commissioners. This
Morning.
is not a change order for the Cape Cana parking lot, just to clarify. So we originally solicited for the implementation of the Pacific City Woods Parking Management Plan, which has evolved into the Kiwanda Corridor project back in 2021. And that includes everything in the strategies: Webb Park, the Cape Cana parking lot, work at the Jensen property, the multi-use path, everything. We did that intentionally, so as we moved along in a long period of time, we could just keep doing amendments instead of going out for new contractors. So what's happened though is over the last 4 years, because of the development of the plan and the implementation of the design of the Cape Cana parking lot, their contract has reached over $2 million, and it's getting a little arduous to track. So in talking with Consor, we talked a while ago that at the conclusion of the Cape Cana parking lot that we would divorce the contracts, but tie them in the language to the original contract agreement 6122. So there's that tracking of how they were procured. So before you today is a new contract, but connected to the original agreement in the amount of $15,000 that basically has Consor on retainer to provide input for grant applications. They've been responding to my request to develop what's needed for the Jensen intersection realignment grant applications. There's a little bit of Webb Park here and there, so it's just as needed. It's all paid out of Fund 133. It's a 1-year contract, and we will keep doing modifications as any strategy gets kicked into high gear. So this is ready for your consideration.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, so it is under the threshold, but it's tied to that other agreement. So
Commissioners, questions or comments?
I do not.
Nope, Consor's been a great partner, so I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of a professional services agreement with Consor for the Pacific City Woods Parking Management Plan design.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
If I could take the next two, describe them together.
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and read both items 12 and 13. Item 12, consideration of an electric utility easement with the Tillamook Peoples Utility District for an 8.4-mile-long above-ground transmission line to serve Tillamook, Netarts, Oceanside, and surrounding areas. Item 13, consideration of an amendment to a conservation easement with the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board for an easement to the Tillamook Peoples Utility District. Rachel Haggerty.
So I'll elaborate a little bit more. I don't know how familiar Commissioner Forney is with the project, but the Southern Flow Corridor project is a 688-acre wetland restoration flood mitigation project that was over a decade in the making and was constructed on the ground in 2016, 2017. About 504 acres of that property is encumbered by a conservation easement because we received funding from the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board for the land acquisitions that were needed to implement the project. And we are at the end of Goodspeed Road at the confluence of the Tillamook, Trask, and Wilson Rivers, which is behind Fred Meyer. So the project is completed. It's functioning great. PUD's been working for several years on their plan to implement their preferred route for the Netarts Oceanside transmission line. And their preferred route that was selected and adopted by their board goes through a southern portion of the Southern Flow Corridor project area. The aerial easement area that they're looking at needing to do is 100 feet wide by 530 feet long, and it's aerial spanning. So there's no poles in the project area. There'll be full spanning lines. Because the property is encumbered by the conservation easement, we are required to work with the holders of the conservation easement, which is the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board, to get approval for this utility easement. So we have been working, PUD and I have been working over the last several months with OWEB to secure to draft this easement. On November 22nd, the board approved a letter to OWEB stating that the county's reviewed their draft plan for the easement proposal area, and the board believes it or has found that it's consistent with the conservation easement. So that was part of the that was one of the steps of the process to provide to OWEB so they could begin finalizing the draft easement. And so they have completed that review. So before you today is the utility easement. I think that was the first agenda item. I did want to clarify the title states an 8.4-mile long above ground transmission line. That's the entire project. That's the whole project. And so that was pulled out of the recitals, but we're not giving them an 8.4-mile long easement, obviously. But just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
So yeah, the easement's been approved by PUD, OWEB, and County Council. And then with that, the provisions in the conservation easement do not allow for a transmission line. And so the second agenda item before you today is an amendment to the conservation easement drafted by OWEB, approved by County Council, that allows for this easement and the construction of the transmission line section. So a lot of time, a lot of work. Casey Fagan is here with PUD if he would like to add anything, but this is a long time coming, and I think maybe your final easement to be secured they've already started building, so it's ready for consideration.
Perfect, thank you. Casey, was there anything that you would like to add? I know this is a massive undertaking that has taken many, many years, and thank you for coming in person today.
Just a thank you for everybody.
Microphone on?
Yes,
Okay,
it's green. Is it
Perfect,
on?
thank you.
Thank you for everybody for this project. I've been here for 9 years, and this project was going on before I got here. All new parties in every position. Part of this agreement here, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service reviewed everything, and Miriam did such a great job that they passed it without any comments. So it just goes to the hard work that's been put in this effort here. So I want to thank everybody. Rachel, great job keeping on top of things.
she's awesome. You guys are blessed to have her, let me tell you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Commissioners, questions or comments of either Rachel or?
I am fully supportive of this. It's needed. It's a long time in coming. I was just remembering once I sat in your office and you showed me some plans for this transmission line that were from the 60s. And so, yes, so PUD has been aware that this needed to happen for literally decades.
Thank you.
I have nothing. Congratulations on being close to the beginning.
Right, it's just the beginning of the next phase, right? Yes. No, I have no comments.
The project has started. We started late this fall, clearing the substation site, clearing the trees out of the forest land, and then most recently putting the foundations, the vibratory foundations throughout the farm fields where we needed them. And we kind of have to shut down for the rainy season here. And as soon as it dries out, we'll finish everything, hope to have everything done by end of summer. So really exciting.
Excellent. And I was reading through the easement and there's work around bird passage. There was a whole section around the avian passage and monitoring and different things related to that, which I thought that was really interesting. And for anybody listening who's thinking, but there's a conservation easement for a reason, you know, what have we done to regard the safeguards? There are safeguards there. So it was an interesting read.
Yep. And, you know, most of the line skirts the Southern Flow Corridor. And so one of the agreements we had with OWEB is not only do we do this protection over that 600 feet, but we do it for the entire estuary area. So that was a good compromise from my side.
Yeah, and because of that, you may recall in earlier conversations, part of this process to get to an executed easement was conducting an appraisal. PUD pays the county for the value of the easement area, and that money goes back to OWEB because they provided the funding. And at the last, it was a Christmas present. I sent him a Christmas present. I said, Merry Christmas to him. OWEB came back to us in late December, and said that because of all of the mitigation with the avian, et cetera, that the Fish and Wildlife Service didn't need to do any of that. So we got to cut all of that out. So that was nice.
Nice. Bill, did you have another
Oh,
comment?
that was exactly the only standard form easement, but it had those avian safeguards, and it was just something that was a little, unusual given the easement area, though I understand why it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think like I said, it was really interesting to me. So, all right, I think we're ready for a motion.
So I want to ask Rachel first, did I understand you correctly to say that we're not granting the 8.4 mile long above ground an easement for the whole thing? So shall I amend this language slightly to say easement with the Tillamook PUD that allows for an 8.54 mile long?
Yeah, I think consideration of an electric utility easement with Tillamook Peoples Utility District for an above ground transmission line.
Okay.
And I don't think we need to put the length in, all the details in there, but yeah, that's a good revision.
Okay. All right. Madam Chair, I move approval of an electric utility easement with Tillamook Peoples Utility District for an above-ground transmission line to serve Tillamook, Netarts, Oceanside, and surrounding areas.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And item 13, Madam Chair, I move approval of an amendment to a conservation easement with the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board for an easement to the Tillamook Peoples Utility District.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. All right. Moving on to item number 14, which is, there's no action needed, so this is a discussion, so that is a change actually to our agenda. So the discussion concerning Secure Rural Schools and Community Self-Determination Act of 2000 certification of Title III expenditures by participating county. Isabel Gilda, Administrative Analyst.
Good morning, Commissioners. Morning. As you mentioned, we had the certification of the Title III funds on the agenda for the board to sign, and the U.S. Forest Service has confirmed that the board approval and signature was not required. Our Chief Administrative Officer, Rachel Haggerty, will sign the certification. So as you announced it, no board action is necessary for the certification. The commissioners will still obligate the funds, but the board action and motion is not required for the certification. So in this case, there's no action required by the board for this.
Perfect, thank you. And for those who don't know, this is Secure Rural Schools, which is funding we receive in replacement for timber revenues we would have received on federal lands. And it is specifically the Title III for use in two programs. One of them is search and rescue for our sheriff's department, and the other is the Firewise program through the Department of Forestry here in Tillamook County. So all of the funds, while we're obligating them, are to one of those two programs. Commissioners?
That's correct.
No.
All right, thank you so much, Isabel.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item 15, consideration of the Association of Oregon Counties Conference Product Tasting Donation Thank You Letters to the Blue Heron Cheese Factory, Pelican Brewing, Tillamook County Creamery, and Warner Gourmet Meat Snacks. Debbie, sneaking up from the back of the room.
Trying to be invisible. So before you are these thank you letters from the Wander Oregon product tasting and sharing event for the Association of Oregon Counties Conference. And we're recognizing Blue Heron, Pelican, Tillamook County Creamery, and Warner Meats. And I still dream about the Blue Heron mustards and jams. So there's some very good stuff. All of the beer and the sparkle hops from Pelican. The creamery sent like 4 different kinds of cheeses for us of wonderful cheddar cheese. And then, as always, Warner, very generous with their beef jerky and pepperoni. So these letters are for your consideration and hopefully approval.
Thank you. Commissioners' comments?
Thank you to Debbie and Isabel for working that event for us. And I also am happy to sign these letters of thanks. And I just want to mention that how happy it makes me at that event to share these excellent Tillamook County products with people from all over the state. And it's fun to hover around our table and listen to people. You know, people make a beeline for the Tillamook table because we have such nice things to share. And people look forward to the beer and the cheese, et cetera, the jerky, all the things you mentioned every year. And so it's really a treat to be able to share them and highlight them.
This was my first time at this event, and it was incredible. I mean, all the counties come out, and I'm glad that all the hard work you guys did. I did help pour a few beers.
You did.
It was great. I'm looking forward to the next one and expanding even more. But yeah, people loved our local products. So thanks for the hard work you guys did.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you to those who provided the products. Obviously, we have a very generous community, which we all know about Tillamook County, and these businesses continue to be generous year after year, and we certainly appreciate that. Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the Association of Oregon Counties Conference Product Tasting Donation Thank You Letters to the Blue Heron French Cheese Company, Pelican Brewery, Tillamook County Creamery, and Werner Gourmet Meat Snacks.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, board concerns.
Not this morning.
Okay. All right. None for me. So I will go ahead and read our meetings and announcements. The Commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly Commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. The Commissioners will attend a Tillamook Lightwave meeting on Tuesday, January 28, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. The meeting will be held at the Tillamook PUD in the Carl Raw Meeting Room, Tillamook. The Commissioners will hold 3 public hearings to hear public comment regarding raising county transient lodging taxes. The first public hearing will be on Wednesday, January 29th at 10 a.m. and will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, Tillamook. The second public hearing will be on Wednesday, January 29th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the Port of Tillamook Bay Conference Room, 4000 Blimp Boulevard, Tillamook. The third and final public hearing will be held on Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. and will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, Tillamook. The teleconference number for all public hearings is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. The commissioners will attend a training on Friday, January 31st, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 at the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook. With that, we will adjourn this meeting at 9:39 a.m.